Hello and welcome to Khaartoum podcast number 7. I am your host of the most Khaartoum on YouTube and BitChute.com. And how are you? Today, could we talk about over generosity? Stop a deadly habit. Now, generosity is something that humans like to do. You like to give to people, to show your appreciation, your friendship, your thanks, to support, to give a leg up, whatever you want to do to people. So, for example, it can be cultural generosity. Like in our culture, we tend to, my grandparents, my parents, we go somewhere, we take a gift, we take food, we take some piece of jewelry or something. It can be charity, giving to a charity or giving in a sense of charity. It can be just trying to help someone who seems less fortunate than us. It can just be being kind, especially like me. If I'm in a good mood, I can be very kind, and then maybe on another day, you might catch me in not so good a mood and I'm not so kind. And it can also be faith. Maybe giving at a special festival or giving away, 15% of your wealth for Eid or Ramadan, or it might be giving at Christmas or whatever. Now, generosity is sometimes not received in the way that we do it. So a dear friend of mine said, often things given are not received in the spirit they are given. For example, giving creates a sense sometimes of inequality, that you are giving and you are creating that inequality. That can create hostility, surprisingly enough. You're not looking for hostility, you're trying to help, but it's, I suppose if you imagine being given stuff by someone and being in their shoes, maybe you would feel hostile as well. So when we're giving, especially if we're giving too much or too often, or if there's a big inequality of wealth, then maybe there is hostility that we're not picking up on. Also, sometimes in a public sphere, like a hotel, maybe they see you as a soft touch. Now this can be really dangerous because it can set up a kind of abusive situations that can actually end up to be quite dangerous situations. I have experienced that. My kindness has got me to a point in some places where I am the customer and they are the worker, and I'm ending up where I'm being spoken to like a dog, and I'm being kind, and it's because I'm being kind, I'm being disrespected. And it can get to an extreme where, for example, at one time I was having my baggage robbed and I didn't realize, and it was because I was so kind. I got robbed, and then I was thinking, well, how far will it be before I get murdered? It can be dangerous if you're seen as a soft touch. It can be seen as buying friendship, that you are not confident, so you are buying friendship. I saw a lady the other day who was a larger sort of lady, and she said, "Oh, keep the change," and she didn't seem very wealthy, and I thought she seemed to be saying keep the change maybe because of that she was a little bit overweight, and I wondered if that was, maybe it wasn't, but that was the impression. That again puts you in a vulnerable situation for your generosity to be kind. Weird stuff. It can just seem that you are being arrogant and throwing your money about, and you look like a fool, and people can take advantage of you and bring things. A dear friend of mine was telling me about supporting a very poor family from the countryside and putting their children through university, and it ended up that they weren't going to university and they were just spending all the money on just rubbish clothes. We don't know where the money went, but she said the money was given and it wasn't received in the way it was given. And the final advice was from a dear Syrian friend of mine who says, let people make their own way. If you give them generosity, charity, you prevent them from standing on their own feet, and you may actually lead them into more danger by perhaps giving money to an elderly person who is then maybe pounced on by a ruthless relative. And he said there can be consequences to our generosity. Most certainly I have been at a stage with my generosity where I have almost been being attacked because I was seen as a soft touch. So over generosity, stop a deadly habit. What do you think of this? This is Khaartoum Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in again, and goodbye from Khaartoum.